Not sure what the weather's like in Victoria, but we can certainly get a report from somebody. We always enjoy that. Weather report from Victoria.
Yeah, you bet.
But right now, it's just fabulous. We're milking these days. These are wonderful fall days. We're milking them. The only thing, of course, is we know what's ahead of us. It's not like we know what's coming down the pipe.
I might have had frost last night.
Yeah?
It was right at 0, I think, is where I was sitting. This morning, when I got up, it was 1, so +1. But it wasn't over yet. It was still going down, still dropping. Yeah. So I've done some interesting things, which I will talk about during the show today.
You're going to change the weather?
In a way, yes.
That'd be great, Ken, if you can do that.
Yep.
Let's start off with the tips and plants of the week here.
You betcha.
Well, my tip of the week is, we like to enjoy the last blossoms of the season. I'm thinking of dahlias and things like that, where we have tubers and cannas and things out there. And we want to enjoy that right to the bitter end, right? That's fine. But at the bitter end, all of a sudden, it's going to freeze tonight. You're running around.
Yep.
You want to catalog what you have out there so it's a nice, calm pickup that day before it freezes. Yep. And so just be prepared. Get that all cataloged. You know where that stuff is. So when it does freeze, you can get it out nice and you don't leave anything like I left some dahlias out last year and froze them. Anyway, my plant of the week is the Nipponanthemum nipponicum, which is the Montauk daisy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just starting to bloom now in the yard. And it's pure white, and it's just really putting on a show.
Yeah, it looks like a Shasta daisy, sort of, like the flower, but that's the only part that looks like a Shasta daisy, is the bloom.
Yeah, it's just like a Shasta daisy bloom, but the foliage is quite different, leathery foliage. Yeah. Just a secondary plant of the week, a frenzy of pollinators attacking Mary Fabris's Aster ericoides pink cloud.
Oh.
It is just incredible, Ken. You got to see it, and the bees and all the pollinators are just attacking it.
I love Aster ericoides. It's a good one. Alrighty, I also have a tip and a plant this week. My tip of the week is that it's time to leach some of your plants. Plants come in from either outside or sometimes they're just in your house. And, we're going into winter, and these plants haven't had their roots rinsed possibly since the spring. So before the temperatures are too cold, you wait until about middle of the day and temperatures are nicely above cold, nice and warm, and you can take some of your houseplants outside and give them a good leaching. That is just where you wash water through the root system and out the drain holes in the bottom. Rinse that soil out so they're good to go through the winter months. And, I just let them drip outside where you don't have to worry about the water, staining anything. It can just go into the ground, so you're preserving that extra water as well in the earth. And when they're all leached out and they get a chance to drip dry a little bit, then you can bring them back into the house. They're good to go till spring. So, leaching time in the fall. All right. Now, my plant of the week this week is the Monstera dolosia, which is the split-leaf philodendron or Swiss cheese plant. It's got a bunch of different names, and this is one of the largest leaf plants that you'd get indoors as a house plant. And I had mine outside all summer, and it got to be humongous. And some of the leaves are 2 feet in diameter. It's a beautiful thing, which are still small for that particular plant. In nature, they grow to about 4 feet in diameter or even more. It's just a cool plant. They are actually a climbing vine, which is interesting. In nature, again, they climb up trees. In your house, not so much, but you can train them a little bit up a stake or something. But they are just a cool plant. One of my favorites, very easy to grow house plant. That's Monstera dolosia, and it's cool. All right, that's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com and Grower Coach on YouTube.
Right on, Ken. It's that time of year where you're starting to bring in your tropical plants. Yeah. I am right in the middle of it. I've got some big tropical plants that I've got to move on to a happier home because I can't fit them in the greenhouse. So I'll be talking about that as time goes on here. But I've got a huge, big pencil euphorbia. And I've got a few big cacti and a few things that I've just got to find homes for because, I've got cuttings of these in the greenhouse so that I can bring them on. I just don't have the room.
Yep.
And I've been told that I would have to leave if I even considered building a bigger greenhouse. I would be left out on the street with my shovel in my hand waiting for something else to happen because I'd be.
Yep, you'd be out.
I've reached my limit of greenhouse space, and boy, oh boy, it's tight.
Well, yeah, we did a video. I think it was last week, and we did a little video on some of these plants you're bringing in, and some really cool succulents and whatnot. But the one thing I noted after I did the video, and I watched it a couple times, and editing it, was that not many of the large ones were inside during that video. They were all the little ones, and I thought, now
I had the
what's
Bocarnia
next?
in there.
Yeah, you had the Bocarnia, but you didn't have the
Pachypodium, the big Pachypodium, and the Jacaranda.
And some of these other succulents that you had outside.
Those ones outside aren't going to come in. I'm trying to fit a few into the house. Donna said there's a big Sansevieria there that can go in the house.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it's just they're babies. They're my babies. They're my.
Yeah.
I have to keep them. Our dear Dwayne Amundard, who passed away this past spring, had this huge greenhouse. I had to have a drool cup when I walked through his greenhouse because I was drooling all over the place. But anyway, he was able to accommodate some very large plants in there. And we're going to do a thing on his greenhouse. I got lots of pictures of his greenhouse, and we'll do a number because he was a guy that was passionate. But he lost one whole greenhouse when he was years ago. One whole greenhouse full of plants.
Oh my goodness!
He lost because somebody was looking after it and didn't turn the heat on properly, and froze it out. And it'd be worse than
tragedy.
Almost worse than having a fire. It's just awful.
That's and it's part of the world of horticulture, especially when you're growing more professionally. And I know he was really growing professionally, even though he was just an avid, plant person, but being in the industry like you and I have been, and we've lost crops over the years, right? And you're in the middle of it, and you got sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars invested, and then one night one thing goes wrong, or one thing you don't expect happens, and you got to start all over again.
Yeah, you got to have a fail-safe program going. In other words, if I have an alarm, if I'm out of town, I get an alarm. If the heat goes down in the greenhouse, got an alarm, and
you got three methods of backup heat.
Yeah,
right?
I got backup heat. I got electric. And
you got to get you a little wood burning stove in there too. That'll be next.
Everything
else goes.
When you started your business back in the 90s, you were burning some wood, weren't you?
Well, I ran all the greenhouses on wood, except for not the main propagation house. It actually had natural gas, and then we slowly spread it through some of the other greenhouses. But some of them, that was our method of keeping frost out. And it was just really because we were growing plants that like to be cold anyway.
Right.
And that was part of the strategy, was keep, we live in a cold climate and we have to do most of our growing over the winter months. Like, don't fight it. Don't grow tropicals. Grow plants that like to be cold or like to grow cold. And so that way, in some of these houses, we used some of the basic technology to keep air circulating and moving around, and then just use big wood burners to get some heat in there. But it was pretty amazing how you could get one of these. I don't know if you remember the powder keg stoves. Like I had a couple of powder keg stoves. Yeah, they were just like a big barrel that sits about 4 or 5 feet high. It's about 3 feet in diameter. It's solid metal. And, in the middle of winter, that thing just glowing red hot metal inside the greenhouse with the fans just blasting the air all around, right? And just barely keep it not above freezing, but keep it to about -5 inside with all that just blazing. So you can, it's not the perfect insulation factor, but when it's cold outside, the wind is blowing, there's all those factors.
Yeah, I know.
And
the wind will find every little crack.
Oh, yeah, and that's where I can't remember. Did you ever put plastic right over your glass house at any point?
Yes, we did. We lined them with plastic every year. That was Don Stoltz's job back in the day.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I got to show you some pictures of Grandpa and Dad in their crops in the greenhouses in the 1930s and 40s.
Oh, yeah.
And they had these big wood stoves in there, too, in the greenhouse heating.
It's fabulous when you like getting up every 2 hours round the clock and stoking those, and you love splitting wood. Yeah. Like, it's fabulous.
Well, every once in a while, Dad would hire what he would call a fireman.
Oh, yeah.
To look after just give him a rest and look after the things. All that. Yeah, and the fireman was actually doing a little bit of snipping on the side, but to keep active. I don't know what he was doing. But anyway, Dad called him a fireman, and so I grew up thinking a fireman was somebody who came every night and looked after the greenhouses.
Made the fires.
I didn't think the fire. I think somebody who made fires didn't put them out. Anyway, we're going to take a short break here. We do invite your calls when we come back because. That's what we do on the Garden Show. Give us a shout, 250-862-2525, locally here, 1-888-780-4273 if you're calling from out of town in Victoria area or anywhere online if you're listening. We'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. And we're back with you on a beautiful Saturday morning. I always say a beautiful Saturday morning. This time I mean it. Andy is joining us. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Don. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day out there, and didn't get frost last night. Right now, I go by Fahrenheit. It's 47 in the backyard.
Ooh, not bad.
No, it's good. So the summer and the spring, the plants that I planted, the vegetable plants in the garden, they didn't do very good at all. Like when I planted them, maybe they grew not even a half an inch in a month, like in, May, June.
These are in the ground, Andy, or in raised beds?
In the ground. Yeah, I didn't do the raised beds.
Okay, in ground. Okay.
The wife's threatening, but anyway, what should I do with that soil? It's a little high in the bed that it is. It's probably 18 feet by 12, and it's a little mounded. It's a little more dirt than should be in there. But I was thinking, what can I do? I tried the fall rye last year. It didn't really help that much. And, dig out a whole bunch of dirt and put a bunch of manure in. That's what I'm thinking of doing.
Yeah.
And
well, there's all sorts of ways to get nutrients, and it just sounds like it's a nutrient issue, Andy, and there's all sorts of ways to get that, and some of them are from natural sources like manure and whatnot. I'm a big triple 20 guy myself. I just use triple 20 all the time, and my plants thrive because they get everything they need.
Right.
But the manure is a good plan because that's just a real good natural source of nutrients and whatnot, and it also adds fiber to the ground. It feeds the soil. However, you have to be a little bit careful about your manure sources because there are situations sometimes when there's some pesticide, herbicide content in that manure, and it'll raise heck with your garden. You just have to be a little bit careful where you get your manure, And there's all sorts of organic materials like Glen Grow and that sort of thing that you can work into your soil to build the soil up. But you need that nutrient. You really do need the plants need nutrients. If they're not growing, if they come up and they just sit there stunted, that's what happens. Sure sign of need some
nutrient
food.
and remember oxygen as well. And that's where when you're adding in massive amounts of compost, when you add in literally a foot of compost, even on top of what you have, you've created this environment that is ideal for root growth because the compost, you can envision it being like chunky and got lots of broken down materials and black and beautiful materials. Your soil is mostly minerals like sand, silt, and clay, not too much compost. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's all about this oxygen. Remember that the amount of oxygen that roots need is 25% of the volume.
Okay,
it's huge. That's huge. So right away, if I'm adding compost to my vegetable garden, I got to add a lot of compost to it too, and I can dig it in and mix it at first. Like what I did, I've dug it into about 12 inches deep. And then every year I stop digging it, and I only just put compost on the surface because I've got such a nice base built that all I do is put like 3 inches of a new compost product on the surface each spring, and then I plant straight into that compost.
Right.
And it gives the seedlings this beautiful, rich environment to grow in. It holds moisture. It's got lots of oxygen. Then the roots will grow down, and they start getting more into the minerals down below, the sand, silt, and clay down below. And it's a real nice kind of balance. But those two factors, one is lots of nutrients, as Don's talking about, and lots of oxygen. And that's where you start with the compost. Now, the other factor is what you do in the fall doesn't always equate to the spring, because even though these fall crops like fall rye and crimson clover, there's a bunch of different things that we use for cover crops in the fall. They're great. They do a lot of they break up the soil, they add nutrients, they do all this stuff. But in the spring, like if we were ever adding our manure now, by the time we get to spring, it's broken down, it's got flat, it's lost a lot of its oxygen, it has lost a lot of its nutrients, have washed away. So springtime is when you apply those manures, and that's when you're getting the full bang for the buck as far as nutrients go.
Well, guys, that answers quite a bit. And when we're talking manure, I'm talking horse manure, right?
Oh, okay. Well, that's even better. But it's got to be well aged, that horse manure,
and it has to be from a source, because most horses, what the issue with their manure is, they have the most expensive vet bills, so they don't want them eating noxious weeds, so they tend to use herbicides in the fields. The herbicide goes right through the horse. It doesn't hurt the horse, but it comes out in their manure, and then you've got dead plants. So you got to know the source, and so you got to say, do you guys use Graze On is one we often talk about here on the show. Graze On is a chemical that they use on horse pastures. So you got to know where it comes from.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andy. Good to hear your voice, and bring a sample of soil to me sometime.
Okay,
buddy. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
And we now have Sandy is joining us. Good morning, Sandy.
Well, happy Thanksgiving all.
Yeah, and gobbling to you too.
I've harvested all my squash pumpkin, and I'll be giving them a good bleach bath before I put them to bed for the winter.
Nice.
Well, it's that time of year, isn't it? And it's wonderful. And that's the key thing with a lot of squash. You really want to leave them on the vine till quite late.
Yeah.
They
last all the way through till just about June sometimes.
Yeah, having those things clean is one of the keys for storage. Just like your tomatoes too. Like people bring in tomatoes, and if you can just make sure they're nice and clean and then dry, and same with the squash, they last and last.
Yeah. The only thing left in the garden now is Swiss chard.
Oh, that'll handle a frost, no problem. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not sure how cold it will take, but
you can find out.
You're going to find out, and you'll let us know, Sandy.
Yeah.
Anyhow, have a good Thanksgiving.
You as well. And thanks for that. Take care.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we've got a few minutes left here. We've got Sharon joining us from Saanich.
Good morning.
Hi,
good
Sharon.
Morning from Saanich.
Yeah.
I have 3 questions. I'm sorry to phone so early. I have a 9 o'clock appointment, and you're not on podcast afterwards, so I have to talk quick today.
Okay.
I bought a beautiful sedum lime zinger.
Okay.
It's a cactus, and I believe Don is the cactus man there. Okay. Should I, like here, right now, this morning, it's supposed to go down to as low as 9 and as high as 18, but according to my indoor-outdoor thermometer, it's only 7.2. Can it be left in the ground, or should I dig it out and put it in the carport, or take it in the house?
Now, is this a tropical sedum?
I don't know. It just says, the tag says sedum lime zinger, striking sedum cultivar. There's no Latin name here, so I can't really help you. And it says vibrant, bright green leaves are edged in bright red. And they were beautiful, but now they're turning yellow.
Yeah, they're fine.
That's sounding like an outdoor.
It's very hardy, that one, yeah.
Really? And it's all right to turn yellow?
Yeah, what they'll do is that it'll vary a little bit. Like in your area, I would kind of expect them to keep on trucking here for a bit yet. But they can, at some point, they'll be completely herbaceous, so then they'll die right down to the ground through the wintertime.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, but then in the ground, you'll get this beautiful little, like a root mass that's covered with these little tiny leaves that are ready to go for next year. So then you just chop the top off once it turns all yellow, and you'll see it there, and you just sort of protect it. Keep things from stepping on it. So I usually take like 3 sticks or something and put a little teepee over top of the thing,
okay, that's
just
good.
so that I can see it. And I know I have to remember, because it's usually me who steps on it, and then that crushes all those little beautiful little leaves. Yeah, and it's got to make it all the way through till next year. And then so I put something there that reminds me it's there. And then in the springtime, you'll see it starting to shoot up, and I still leave those little sticks in place so that I remember. And then it'll come up and it'll be back to its glory next year, and it'll be fine.
And the other question, according to the tag, it says it gets soft pink flowers appear late summer, late fall. Late summer, late fall. I bought this in August, and there's no flowers on them.
Yeah.
Might not be mature enough.
How mature do they have?
Well,
to
it
be?
might be next year. Next year
yeah.
you're going to have some blossom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because it goes 4 to 6 inches by 12 to 18 inches, so that's pretty big, isn't it?
No, that's about right. But the thing with that is that also when you buy them, they're kind of out of sync because they come out of greenhouses and things, and they don't know it's spring or summer or whatever. But they're going to learn in a hurry that this is winter.
Yeah.
And then
This is winter already?
Yeah, well, it's going to be. And then anyway, it's something they can measure because it's really cold. It's actually winter, right? So then you go through the winter, and then spring comes, and they know it's spring, and then they go, okay, now I'm on track. And then, okay, spring comes, they grow, they put on their growth, they do their thing, and then they bloom when they're ready, and everything goes to normal sequence. It's just when they come out of greenhouses or from nurseries, they're sometimes out of whack, and they don't know what's up or down.
I can be really quick because I know it's commercial time.
we got to get on.
If I can't find 16-16-16 fertilizer right now, and should I use 6-3-20 or should I use 15-0-30? Which would you do right now?
On what?
Oh, grass.
On your lawn?
A lawn.
Yeah, the ones, the nitrogen doesn't do that much job in the fall, but those ones with the higher phosphorus and potassium would be the ones to use.
Oh, which one's is that number one?
The second two numbers. Second two numbers.
Oh, one has 0. Winterized is 15-0-30. So
15-0-30? Yeah.
Yes,
well, the
nothing.
30%, that potassium really helps with winter hardiness.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's known as winter.
You bet.
Because there was 6-3-20, 15-0-30, or 6-4-36. You would use
any one of those three.
anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone for lawns,
it's all marketing, and that's all a fall. Those are all fall fertilizers. Yep.
It's all marketing, right?
Yep.
So the 0 in the middle for the winterized doesn't really matter then.
Not really. No.
30 was the highest for the root part. Okay, that's great.
There you go.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
And your families
You
and
betcha.
all your listeners and your families.
Thank you,
Okay,
dear.
great.
Sure.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks
Bye-bye.
for calling. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And we're going to take a short break. We've got Dan Bruce waiting in the line for us to give his little bits of knowledge, and we will be back with you after this short break. Back with you on a beautiful Saturday morning. It's just gorgeous here, and it's a lovely, great working weather where you can be out there and working away, and you're not too hot, not too cold, just perfect. Just like the Three Bears, and we got one of the Three Bears online right now. Dan Bruce, how you doing, Dan?
How are you?
Hey,
Good.
Dan.
Well, I had to go to the coast this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time in about 3 years that I've, crossed the mountains and gone down there.
Okay.
I was amazed. I got through the Lower Mainland without getting lost.
Oh, there you go.
It's changing.
There's always coming back, to get lost.
Yeah.
Getting down there is one thing.
A lady, Laura Menzies, had donated some material to Fintry, and she is a descendant of James Dunwater's second wife, the Menzies family. Anyway, we've had a lot of donations from the family from various places. Laura lives in Tawasin, and I couldn't get down there in the summertime for various reasons, and there's a friend of mine who lives in Tawasin. He went and got the stuff for me. So I went down, and having got through the Lower Mainland, heading towards the ferries, you turn to the left to go into Tawasin, and I was so pleased when I did that. Standing in the middle, in the median of Tawasin, is the line of palm trees. Fan palms.
Yeah, the big Japanese fan palm.
And I'm pretty sure they're Trachycarpus fortunei, the Japanese fan palm. But there they are, and they're getting up there. They've got to be, 13, 14 feet high.
Yeah, and they came through last year, which really was a trial for them.
Yeah.
So they're pretty darn tough, aren't they?
They are, and I know there have been people around who have said, well, they should take them out anyway because they're not native. Well,
Well. Yeah.
We don't mess with that.
Yeah, but look at
thought.
Dan. They're probably hardier than cordyline, the Dracaena palm, the common name for.
Oh yes, I mean that won't take frost at all.
Yeah, well, they do in down the coast. They quite often can leave them out in a protected area. And I know when I was in Britain, in Surrey, visiting my friend Dave Jensen, they had some Dracaena palms or cordylines there that were 14 feet tall, and they must get a little bit of frost there.
Oh yeah, but I think it's certainly not a Kelowna type frost.
No. They might take 5 below, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we went into winter knowing that was the case, I would leave a lot of stuff out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking to Victoria here too, Dan. So this is it's a lot milder there.
Yes, they can get away with all kinds of risky stuff down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
we all the gardeners want to push the envelope. That's what it is.
Well, that's the thing, and people tend to push harder and harder and harder, and then of course when the winter does suddenly turn and bite, you've lost almost everything.
I know, and it did bite last year. There's no question about it. I've got some interesting things going on in my Magnolia grandiflora. I think I'm going to be down to quite a small unit there before the dust settles, and I'm going to have to regrow it. But yeah. But anyway, that's all about gardening. That's what we do. We push the envelope, have some fun.
Yes, and yesterday there was a black bear who pushed the envelope and had fun around here.
Oh, really? In your yard?
Yes.
How'd you get in?
Well, in the garden. Over the fence.
Over the fence.
Just climbed over the fence.
And I ejected him. And he went over the fence with not the slightest hesitation or problem.
Wow.
But then he went across the road and spread the neighbor's garbage all over the road.
Oh, dear.
So we're having an issue. But no, that bear has been around here for at least a couple of weeks, in and out and around. Give the bear his due. He has never caused any damage here. Hasn't attempted to take down the pheasants or anything like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But the dogs do get a little bit
excited.
Excited. That's the word I was looking for.
Dan, it's always kind of fun to talk to you. I really would like you to come in and see what I'm doing. I might need your help with my cataloging of some of my plants. I just wouldn't mind you just to sit down for a coffee or something and have a look at what I'm doing.
I'll trade your services because I'm going to need help to repot the infamous Aloadia.
Aloadia, yeah. No,
that is a job that is going to take at least 4 hands, and I only have 2.
Do you have in your old collection of all these things that you have in your home there, you have a set of armor? Like in armor, like as in a knights of shining armor? We could use that to avoid any...
Those thorns?
The thorns on the Aloadia. It's crazy, yeah.
But I do put on my gloves and my set of leather cuffs that I used to use when I worked at Nicola.
There you go.
And also with the Aloadia, because of its snaky nature, it might not hurt to put on a Carhartt jacket.
I know. Well, I could bring my Australian oil jacket, oil coat,
that would work.
My welding gloves, and my goggles, and we'll do it. Okay, Dan?
Okay.
Right on. Take care.
We'll talk to you later.
You betcha.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, that's something. I've got all sorts of utensils that I use when I'm transplanting cacti.
Oh, yeah.
I've got grabbers and whippers.
Do you have any 10-foot poles?
I do have. Well, I do have a set of welding gloves, welding mitts, and they're pretty thick, but they still don't keep some of those thorns out.
No.
That's one thing about cactus, and also a lot of euphorbias have some pretty good prickles on them.
We used to use just like bath towels, big thick bath towels, and we'd wrap them around, wrap them around until I just had a ball of towel.
Yep.
You still had to be careful.
Yeah.
You just very lightly lift the thing up, and you just leave the base of it exposed, and then you could set it into a new pot. What I find is that a lot of these plants are quite top heavy.
Yes.
It's just sort of
they're full of water.
Yeah, they're full of water. Like it's a cactus, but it's like it's very top heavy. So then when I'm transplanting, I'm trying to go into a clay pot, something that has some weight to it. Use some sandy sort of, like usually would take a potting soil and mix it with sand or even a bit of gravel, or even put a big heavy rock in the bottom of the pot or something just to keep the thing upright. And once you do that transplanting, then it's got to last for, I don't know, like it's hard to say, but 5 to 10 years probably, right? In that pot. Who knows? It depends. Like at your house, things grow like crazy. I'm always surprised that you and I both have similar plants, similar sizes when we start, and then I come back later and you've got like a 5-gallon pot with this huge plant in. I'm going like, that's that plant? Mine's still 20. Yeah, mine's still like 2 inches high. It's also my water. My water is so hard. I have a very, very high pH water that's full of calcium, and it's very difficult. It's a bit salty too, a little bit of sodium in there. So the plants, they really struggle. And plants that you have to dry out, what happens is if you have salts in your water, the drier the plant gets, the higher that salt concentration gets. So all my succulents suffer from actual sodium toxicity. And unless I keep them wet all the time, how are you going to keep the sodium from building up? And so it's a challenge, That's why I talked today, my tip of the week, about leaching plants. Oh, yeah. And, you've often said that's one of the things that kills your house plants is this.
It's the biggest killer.
It's not just sodium, but it's salts in general that are a big issue.
Yeah, it is very important. It's probably the first thing a person would talk about if they were talking about helping folks with their indoor plant issues is the salt buildup issue.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say, well, it needs repotting. Well, look at the bonsais. They'll sit. I've got things that have been in pots for 40 years, and they don't. Yeah. It's not repotting they need. Sometimes they need leaching. Sometimes they need. Now there are. I'm not saying it never needs repotting. I mean, sometimes they get so root bound. There's nothing left but root. You got to water it 5 times a day to keep the moisture in there. Repotting fine. But I find my problem with repotting is that every time you repot, the plant gets bigger. And now I'm ending up with what I have today, these huge plants in 10-inch pots, 15-inch pots. Yeah. And they're huge, and I don't have room for them, and I've got to find a spot for them. Anyway.
And talking about bonsais, I've often talked about my Ficus benjamina, which is the weeping fig. And you and I did, we were talking about bonsais. This was in 1988 on CHBC. We did a little bit for the news on TV, and then they were, we were doing bonsais, so we just took a plant and we potted it up, and we had one of Barry's, Barry Salaberry's pots. He made some bonsai pots, and so we took one of his and put it all in this thing, and that plant is still alive and it's still in that same pot, and I've never transplanted it or anything, and so it's like a succulent because it's just a ball of these bulbous roots with the plant growing out of it. It's very cool, but 1988 till today, that's
pretty good.
A few years.
That's a few years ago.
Still going.
On that note, we're going to take a short break here because we have to, and we'll be back with another 15 minutes or so of the Garden Show, and then another hour after the 10 o'clock or the 9 o'clock break. But right now, we will be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you on an absolutely beautiful Saturday morning. I tell you, you can't get it any better than this, Ken. I'm milking every day, out in the garden, enjoying the weather. We had a really nice, I'll talk about fishing, but we had a really nice fishing trip on last Monday, but we got to welcome Bill to the show. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill.
Where were you fishing?
Where was I fishing? I'm not going to tell you because we caught fish. Why would I tell the world where the fish are?
Okay, well, maybe just send me an email to tell me.
Okay.
My gardening question today is, I had a bunch of Oregon grapes removed from down the side of the house. They were there for about 28 years, and they're a mess. Yeah. Anyhow, the main plants are gone, but now I'm getting sprouts up all over the place. How can I control those or get rid of them permanently?
You could hire a company to come in and use a herbicide on those shoots and get that under control. I believe that Roundup would work as well on those shoots at this time of year, especially if you've got some exposed cambium, this time of year. You can get rid of it. Other than that, an excavator to come in and dig down deep and get those roots out, and then just chase down the ones that come up later. I mean, I don't know, Ken, what have you done with Oregon grape when you want to get rid of it?
Oh, yeah. It's a challenging plant, like if you ever wanted to dig one out and move it somewhere, you try and dig it out and it just dies as soon as you disturb the roots. But yet those roots, if you leave them alone, are very, very difficult to get rid of. So I don't really have a 100% answer on that one. They are actually a barberry family, and barberries are notoriously tough. But yeah, I really don't have much of an answer for that, unfortunately, because even if you were to cover the ground with something like a heavy black poly or something, they would just creep and creep. Their roots are masters at holding energy and then creeping, and they survive without water. They're just a very, very durable plant. So yeah, it's a challenge. Digging it out is really the way to go, I guess.
But, in this case, you might want to go down and pick up some Roundup and try that, because it's one thing that might just get rid of them.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Then they're a plant that should never be used on property, right?
Well, no, they have their purpose, okay, but you're right. As an ornamental plant, because of one of the reasons, because of the fact that they do spread around by their roots, it's not wise to plant them in certain areas. However, on hillsides, banks, and
where you don't have any water.
Where there's no water, they're very drought tolerant.
If you water them, watch out.
Yeah, once you water them, it's like sumac. Sumac is the same thing. It's a great plant, but boy, once you start babying it, it just wants to be the only guy in town.
Yes. Well, okay, I have some Roundup, and forthwith, it's going to get a dose of it today.
Yep. See what you can do. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Yep. That was Bill, and we've got a few minutes left before the end of the show, or the end of this segment of the show, because we've got a whole hour coming up. But I've got a book by Alex Shigo. I refer to the book Tree Pithy Points every show, and I give a little speech from that. Yep. He's got one called 100 Tree Myths.
Oh, yeah.
100 Tree Myths. And on page 11, he's got something, myth number 13, okay? Myth number 13. Trees cannot restore injured tissues in the same spatial position. Trees cannot restore injured tissues in their same spatial position. In other words, trees are generating systems. Trees form new cells in new spatial positions throughout their lives. Heal means to restore in the same spatial position. Animals are regenerating systems like us. We heal in a different way. Trees just take their wound, what they call wound wood, and pile it on top of the old wood, and so you end up with a new layer of new wood covering, and the space, the little line between those two is called a coated layer. Compartmentalization of disease in trees, and it stops the possible diseased wood, the dead wood inside, possible like a hollow trunk, for instance. It stops that from going out into the new wound wood that's just formed. And Alex Shigo would take a piece of cut log, throw it on the ground, break it open, and all this rotted inside. He says that's the size the tree was when it was wounded.
Yep.
And so there you go. That hollow trunk is not necessarily a death knell for a plant. A tree can have a hollow trunk, but it's not rotting from within and going out. It stays the same size hollowness, and the outside starts to grow and it becomes thicker and thicker.
Apparently, even just with only 20% of the trunk remaining around the outer perimeter is still enough to support the tree and to hold it up and to give it enough strength. Yep. So,
we've got Gail joining us on line one. Good morning, Gail.
Hi, good morning. We have a hibiscus on our deck, and we thought we would bring it in very cleverly, put it in front of a window for the winter. However, almost immediately there were little black specks on the windowsill and the tiniest flies on the window.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do we throw the hibiscus out?
Those tiny flies might be just fungus gnats or something like that. That might not be a big issue. You might want to just take some yellow sticky boards. You may want to put that hibiscus in a room by itself for a while and see if you can get on top of that. We always say examine your plants very thoroughly before you bring them in the house, because when you do bring them in the house, they come from a cool situation to a warm, and whatever's on there, if there's a hatch or whatever, it'll just go nuts because it's saying, oh, it's spring again, and let's go at her.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you want to really, but
The common insects that you're going to come across are going to be aphids, most commonly on those. So aphids are going to be on the tips of the shoots and under the leaves. So inspect the plant now that it's inside. And those insects will sometimes be flying or trying to fly somewhere in the fall to go maybe overwinter on a different plant or to do something different. And, of course, when they're in the house, they'll fly to the windows because there's light there. As Don was saying, yellow sticky traps are one way to trap them. And then once you trap them, you can inspect them very closely with magnifiers and then identify what they are. And then you'll know a treatment. As soon as you know what it is, you'll know how to treat it.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
So if you have to, then what you do is with these yellow sticky traps, and I've done this a lot of times. I've had people send me pictures. You can pick up yellow sticky traps, I think at some of the local garden centers, and then they sell these little things, and then you just take a little one and put it near your plant, and then the insects are attracted to the yellow color, so they all fly at it, and then they stick onto it because it's sticky. And then you can take a picture of that up close. And then if you like, some people email me those pictures of their yellow sticky traps, and then they have all the different species of little flies on there. And then I zoom in on it with in an email, and I can that way, it's a little bit bigger picture, so I can zoom in a bit, and I zoom in and identify them and send a thing back and say, these are fungus gnats. This is what you need to do to clear it up. And some of these things are really not a big deal. Some of them, they just all die off as soon as they're inside too, eh? So just depends.
It's just amazing. They were just so instantly on the window and on the windowsill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they could have been quite a few on the plant prior to. So again, like if it's a fungus gnat, that's coming from the soil. If it's an aphid, that's coming from the leaves. And this is where sometimes when you do bring a plant from outside to inside, you inspect it. If you have any suspicions, you just take a hose, put your thumb on the end of it, and just blast the undersides of the leaves outside. Give it a good blast outside, and then once it starts to dry up, bring it into the house, and then you're starting with a little bit less insect population.
And then let it go dormant?
No, I just keep them as a house plant, like the hibiscus anyway. They just make a nice house plant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I thank you for that.
All righty. Well, good luck.
Put in a good day.
Yeah. And happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. And we're getting right close to the mid-show break. We do invite your calls when we come back. 250-862-2525, 1-888-780-4273. If you're calling from out of town, out of the Kelowna area. And we'll be back with The Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you on that beautiful day I was talking about in the last segment that's still here. It's a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to getting home and working in the garden and doing some stuff, doing my greenhouse maintenance. I'm just really trying to seal things up for the winter. I got to shut down the cooling system. We don't need a cooling system now, Ken.
Nope.
But we do need the heating system.
You might need it today with this sun. I don't see a cloud in the sky, but it's still pretty chilly.
It has kicked in. It has to get 32 in the greenhouse before that cooling system kicks in. It doesn't kick in any sooner than that. Kicks in about when the temperature reaches 32 degrees. I got it at set point, and I've got it the set point, and then you have the gap between over and under. In other words, I've got it set. It'll kick in at 34 degrees because I got a 2 degree setback. So it'll kick in at 34 degrees, and it'll bring it right down to 30 degrees. Because the set point is 32. So anyway, there you go. That's what's happening right now in the greenhouse. And I'm going to shut the cooling down, which is done now. Hey, you know what I'm doing though, Ken? I'm making lots of hangers in the greenhouse so that I can put hanging baskets in there. That's something I haven't done. I'm hoping the greenhouse is strong enough to hold these hanging baskets. 200 or
300 of them up there and find out.
You never know, eh? Hey. Got to remind you about the trip to the Northwest Flower and Garden Festival in Seattle. It's one of those fun things we do every year, and a busload last year, had a great time. It's February 20th to the 23rd, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 4 days. It's 2 days on the bus getting down there, or 1 day, I should say, getting down there. And, of course, it's always entertaining on the way. And then we get down there, and you start your evening off by just getting some of the sights of Seattle. And then in the morning, we take you down to the show. And so the 2 days at the show. And really, it is a fabulous show. And it's just $800, $7.99 for a double. In other words, 2 people, $7.99 each. Good value because you've got three nights at the hotel. You've got 3 breakfasts. You've got a nice lunch at Brian Mitter's. Tons of door prizes on the bus, and
the tickets to go to the show.
Tickets to go to the show for 2 days,
2 full days, and it's just amazing, that show, and the seminars. Yeah. It's just crazy. There's so many seminars. So if you're a plant person, boy, you want to be there. If you haven't been there, better go. It's so much fun. It is
a great show. Been there a few times, and Ken, you and I have been there together too, on our hands and knees, looking at the plants and flowers from a different angle than a lot of folks will do. They'll enjoy the ambience of the whole thing, and they'll see this.
We're usually climbing over the fences and walking through these plants, and they're like, "Hey, you get out of there!" And you're like, "Oh, it's okay. We're trained professionals."
Yeah, that's right. We are welcoming Charlie to the phone or to the show. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning, Donnie. How are you?
Excellent. I don't know if did I mention that I was putting a back door in your greenhouse the other day?
You did mention that. And I haven't kind of noticed this dwarf-like gardening gnome builder guy.
Yeah.
With the beard.
An amazing job in my greenhouse. What a great guy.
Yeah, garden gnome.
I'll ask you an important question.
Okay.
We asked about the sweet potatoes that my wife procured and gave to you to grow in your garden, and it's doing much better than mine, which is unfair somehow. I don't get that. But so are you rolling yours in yet?
Oh, yeah. No, we've been eating them. Yeah, they're delicious. And but when I was there building that door for your greenhouse, Teresa came up with a sweet potato that she found in the front yard. It blew my mind. I was going to ask Ken what his thoughts were. Here's this sweet potato that you guys were planting 3 years ago, and the darn sweet potato was still in there, and it was sprouting up.
Yep.
So they're hardy.
They're perennial.
My goodness.
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Mine are half the size yours are, so I don't know what steroids you're planting your garden in.
Well, what I've done is I've saved all my planting soil from my containers from the previous year, and I've used that, and it's a nice open mix and peaty, and
you feed almost every watering, don't you?
And not every. No, the sweet potatoes not so much. I do feed. I do use 20 on them, but not steady. But they're I keep them healthy.
So I can't claim steroids. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the main reason I called was real reason was to do 2 things. Thank you for your garden show for both of you, for all the knowledge you bring, because this is a time of year to me when this is a special time of year. This is harvest time. Mm-hmm. This is when Thanksgiving is meant to be to give thanks for the crops we bring in from the fields and all the workers that work the fields. And so I want to say thanks to you because you're like sort of the workers of the field for us. You bring us the knowledge and the insight. So during the harvest season, which is now, at Thanksgiving, I just want to say thank you to you guys for all the knowledge and the wisdom and the joy you bring to us every week on this show. So thank you.
Very
Charlie,
kind.
Thank you, and thank you for your friendship. We enjoy your Charlie Hodge and Teresa Hodge's friendship very much. Especially during hockey season, of course. Except the darn Canucks, they fall apart in the last period every time. Well, we'll have to smarten them up, Charlie.
We'll get them together. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah,
you guys have to yell a lot louder.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, buddy.
Guys, have fun.
Appreciate the
Thanks,
call, Charlie. Take care, man.
Thank you for everything you do.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
You. Yeah, nice. Yeah, well put. The this time of year is definitely all about thanks, and especially the farmers, the people who do the work to supply us with all the wonderful food. We are truly blessed, that's for sure.
It's just incredible the amount of food that has to be produced in this world to feed the world.
Yeah.
It just really blows your mind. It blew my grandfather's mind back in the 40s, probably the early 40s. Mm-hmm. He took a trip to California because of his greenhouse experience and his field growing experience, onions, tomatoes, peppers, that sort of thing. He wanted to see what the real guys were doing, down in California. And of course, back in those days, there's been a lot of land that's been, mowed over. I mean, in fact, Disneyland itself was a big, huge orange grove before it was, taken down. So a lot of farmland has been eaten up down there. But when he went down there, he came back and said to Dad, and Mom, this is crazy what they're doing down there. What we do up here is very, very low key compared to what happens down there in those big fields. So that's what feeds the world. However, local produce in the Okanagan, we can grow some great stuff, and we really highly recommend supporting those local growers at the markets and Hazeldale Orchards is growing concern. We're going to be going there again today to get some more Bosc pears for drying. We had some real good success this year drying Bosc pears, Ken. I did 20 pounds the other day.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see if we can do another 20 pounds and do some apples as well. No cherries this year and no plums for us, but lots of apples and pears. And I think out of all the drying things, cherries would come first. Cherries are the best dried thing. Yeah. But apples and pears in particular, very sweet. It's got all that natural sucrose flavor, sugar. It's not artificial. Yeah, it's fructose. Yeah, fructose. Fructose, yeah. And, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to pop by and see the Reeds, Alan and Wendy Reed. We're going to have a talk, have a chat. We always do, and we'll pick up some of those that apples. Now, this 100 Tree Myths by Alex Shigo is one of the coolest books because myths are something that's out there in gardening incredibly. So many myths, like you can't sprinkle a Japanese maple in the summer during the heat.
Because it burns the leaves.
That's a myth. That's a myth, folks. Watering during the heat is a myth that it burns the leaves. You can water them during the only reason you don't want to water during the heat is because half the water gets evaporated. Yeah, it's a waste. It's a waste.
But that just meant you should have watered. But you don't want the plant to die or go crispy. And it's usually the crispiness that people assume is caused by the watering is actually caused by a lack of watering. Because those plants that are not particularly drought tolerant, like a lot of the Japanese maples, they need water. They need water at the root, and they need a good soak. And if they don't get enough, they go crispy.
Marginal necrosis.
Yeah.
Ken, we're going to take a short break here, and we do invite your calls. We're here to answer your gardening questions. You have some fall gardening issues that you want to talk about, give us a call. 250-862-2525, 1-888-780-4273 is a free call from anywhere in the world, really. Well, maybe not the world. We're going to be back with the Garden Show after this short break. Well, we have the 2025 Okanagan Historical Society Kelowna branch calendar. It's available now, celebrating 100 years of rail into Kelowna. Call Chris Jennings, 250-862-2801 if you want to get one of those calendars. They're a great Christmas gift. And anybody even from Victoria and Penticton and whatever, they're all, it's always interesting to see the history of our province. The railway, of course, was a big deal when it came to town. I am continuing to catalog all my plants and to take pictures, Ken. I've just picked up at the dollar store a couple of black sheets of just pure black sheets of styro. And they're dull. It's not shiny.
It's like a matte finish.
It's a matte finish. And I'm going to see what it's like to put plants in front of that. I'm not a photographer, but I think I've seen several pictures of plants.
Get some really good lighting.
Get some pictures of plants in front of black. It really sets them off. We're going to try.
It's a good idea.
And there you have it.
Sounds good. I want to look at that. What's it called? Stapella?
Stapella, yeah.
Stapella. Oh, that is a crazy looking thing. Yeah. And so maybe you can just talk briefly about that. But there was a plant that, where did you get it again?
From Dwayne.
From Dwayne, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was a plant. Looks like an orchid cactus, but it's not.
It's not a cactus. Yeah.
It's not even a cactus.
It's not even a cactus, no.
It's its own species.
Yeah. Stapella. Wow. So it's Stapella. And I'll
tell you.
Strange
looking flower.
Yeah, it's strange. And now, they say it smells like rotting flesh.
Well, that's what I thought when I looked at it.
But I smelt it, and I can't smell him. Mind you, my
smellers?
My smellers aren't as good as they used to be.
You don't smell too good.
No, I don't smell too good. No. Look at, I'm going to take Louis for a ride here. Hey, Louis, how you doing?
Yeah, not too badly. Thank you. Still alive and still kicking.
That's good.
Good.
And I have to tell you something. I have a new breed of tomato.
Oh.
The whole summer, nothing. Here and there, maybe flower, and dropped it off. And now I'm looking, the green here and the green there, and so on. And you figure that out. Maybe by Christmas time, they're going to be red, eh?
Yeah. Well, I've had a very similar thing with a few of my tomato varieties. Green, right through. And but I'll tell you, we have one kind of a paste tomato that I brought a whack of green ones in, and they are ripening up really well in the kitchen. So you may want to try some of that, Louis. Bring some in the house.
No, yeah. Well, but if they naturally get red, then I'm going to get the Nobel Prize for it.
Yeah. Well, a Nobel tomato prize.
You imagine in the wintertime under the snow.
There you go. Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. Gardening is something else.
Well, it is, but it's good for the soul, Louis. As you know.
Yeah, you think so?
I still want to get a hands-on idea of how to cure my tobacco. Not that I don't smoke anymore, but certainly it's kind of fun to cure it. Mine's starting to smell like tobacco.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, and mine is smoking like you won't believe.
There you go.
Yeah. What else? I wish you guys all the best for the holiday.
Well,
and don't overstuff yourself with a turkey there, though.
Back at you. So did you go out and shoot yourself a turkey, or did you buy one?
Well, you believe it or not, we have a friend who's going to surprise us on Sunday, going to bring a big turkey over.
Oh, wonderful.
So, Rosie, don't have to play around with the turkey.
That's right. Well,
nice.
Louis, it's you're a great guy to know, a very talented man, and I appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sir.
You guys, again, like all the best for the Thanksgiving night.
And you as well,
Happy
Louis.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
What a character!
There you go.
What a character!
Yeah.
He's one of the coolest guys. Some of the stuff that he's built over the years, his bronze sand casting and things. He's got keeps bees. He's got a big garden, grows tobacco, does all.
Yeah, he does all this stuff. Oh, that's awesome.
He's a hunter and a fisherman,
Yeah.
and also so he's lived life. He's done well, and he's got a beautiful lathe, a metal lathe, and he's got a sandblaster, and
he's a doer.
He's
That's
a doer.
Awesome.
He's a doer.
Fabulous.
Yeah, we really like Louis.
Very cool.
And he's been calling into the garden show since about 1983. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I've done something which is probably a little bit different. We were talking about bringing plants in from outside, and so I'm just so excited about my crop of celery. Just because it's homegrown celery just kicks butt. I mean, it's awesome. It's so thick and crunchy and delicious and sweet. It's one of these things that until you start growing celery, you just, I don't know. It's one of the good things in life. But what happens is you grow 15 plants. That's a lot of plants for one household, right? So we've been eating celery all the way along, and we still ended up, just this week, we still had, I think about 10 plants left. So if you eat a bunch of celery, and these are big bunches, like they weigh, one bunch weighs about, I'd say, 10 pounds. Ooh, like they're big. So there you go. Now you can envision you would eat one of those bunches of celery per week, and that would be a pretty steady intake of celery, right? So I had 10 bunches left, and I'm just thinking, well, we got to keep these things going. Yep. But they are not frost resistant. As soon as it freezes, they're toast. Yeah. So I took 5 of them, I dug them out, and I potted them up. And I got them in pots, watered the heck out of them, and I brought them in. We've got a plant room. Wendy's got a plant room. We've got like a glass doors, it's quite really bright. And we brought them in, put them right in front of that glass door, with proper trays and everything. And I'm watering them. And one of them's kind of wilting, not super happy. Wilted celery is not very good. No. But anyway, if that one wilts, that's okay. I've got 4 more that are not wilting. And so I managed to get enough root, and I'm watering them, and I'm going to just keep them wet. Celery likes moisture. So it's good to go. But, I'm just thinking, well, there you go. If I could get 5 plants, and the 5 that are left outside, I also have one that's in the fridge too, right? But the ones outside, if they get frozen out one night and that's the end of them, I've got those 5 plants. That's 5 weeks of celery supply. So I'm excited, and all I need them to do is to maintain their turgor pressure, right? So they don't wilt, and then I'm good to go. So the thing is each one has got to be 20 inches in diameter. So they're big, beefy things, right? It's amazing. But, man, are they crunchy. Delicious. Wow.
If you do have the guy that you might have to leave outside, Donna has a fabulous celery soup recipe that I love. Celery and cheese soup. It's really a good recipe.
If you could send that to me, because celery soup is on my top 10 list of soups.
Well, I can send you that. But in return, awesome. I'd like some celery.
You'd like some celery in exchange. Well, it's better than having it freeze.
That's what I'm saying.
Give it to someone to enjoy.
That's right.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, and it's just amazing. The smaller stems are so strong in celery flavor and they're kind of a little bit really high in fiber, fibrous. But the bigger ones inside are just perfect, lovely. Anyway.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
Something different. I actually did a little video on it. I did a YouTube short, and I just threw it out there. I think it was yesterday, just to because it's new to me, too. It just came to me. I thought, why don't I do this? Like everything else is coming in. Why ignore my lovely celery plants?
Of course.
So there you go. Anyway.
They used to grow big fields of celery here in the Okanagan. Yep. It was a big deal.
It seems to not mind the alkaline soil, and it doesn't have any issues with the salt. I told you my water is salty and high alkalinity, and it's happy as a camper. And
celery
no
loves
bugs.
high pH.
Oh, okay.
That's on our list. It's celery loves high pH.
Yep.
Hey, Sandy, you can't stay away, can you?
The celery thing got me.
There you go.
This is the first time I've grown celery.
Yep.
I grew 2 pink celery and 2 green celery. But they're skinny. None of this big, heavy stuff.
Yeah. I'm not sure the varieties that may be an issue. I grow 2 types. I grow one is called Tango, and then I grow another one called Tall Utah. Those are the 2 that I grow. I really like the Tall Utah. It gets about 30 inches tall. It's quite tall, and it's got big, thick stems. The stems I have right now on these, I only have Tangos this year. They're about 22 inches tall. But their stems, the thickness of the flesh on those stems is more than a half an inch. It's more like almost 3/4 of an inch. There's not much of a dip,
like
where you put the cream
marker.
cheese. Where you put the cream cheese there, there's not enough room for cream cheese because it's all beefy, lovely, crunchy, crispy flesh.
Yeah, these are only about as big as a Jiffy marker. Like they're not big at all.
Yeah, the
really good flavor, lots and lots of leaves.
Yeah.
I did make a great batch of celery soup that I canned.
Oh yeah,
but but they didn't get big at all.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to, hill them up or anything?
Well, no, you don't have to. That's what they do in commercial situations because people like to have them blanched, so they're light green at the bottom and darker green at the top.
No, these are nice dark.
Yeah, but I mean that's from blanch. The only way they get light at the bottom is by burying them at the bottom. So, but you don't. I don't do that. I like the green. I like to get the chlorophyll when I'm eating it, and they're fine. But it could be varietal, so I would switch it up. I've often said this about vegetables: always grow 2 varieties. In the garden.
And Ken, when do you sow the seed?
You got to seed it about middle of February.
Indoors.
Well, I thought, because they say you can cut off the bottom and repot it and, it'll grow little things. And I thought, well, after I cut it out, I thought this has got such a nice root mass on it that I actually replanted them in pots, and I'll see if they sprout.
There you go. Well, yeah, and you can put them in the greenhouse or bring them inside. They really can't handle any frost. So,
they're in.
Yeah, so it's an experiment, and I want you to call back and let us know how it goes.
I'll let you know if my absolutely nothing but roots grow a celery plant.
Well, what I've done, I've transplanted the whole thing, the whole meat and potatoes. So each one is almost, I'd say they're 22, maybe 24 inches in diameter. They're about 22 to 24 inches tall, and they're thick. And I put those into 3-gallon pots. And I've got 5 of those inside. And one of them, I think I kind of damaged the root when I pulled it out, so it kind of wilted. But I'm hoping it'll perk back up because you need them to be crunchy and crispy, right?
I left some of the pink one out there because it was going to flower.
Right.
But it doesn't seem to be doing seed.
Yeah,
it seems to be flower.
Yeah, that's very strange. Like mine are not even close to flowering. Not even close. So I don't know. I know that some of the celeries are very late season crops. Like mine just became ready about probably, I would say around the end of August, I could start to harvest a few. But they're so much better now. Oh, my.
Yeah, the green ones didn't go to flower at all, but the pink ones did.
Okay.
And so I just took all the leaves off and used that in my soup, and it's just fine.
Do you know the name of the pinkish one?
No, it just said pink celery.
Pink celery. Well, there you go. Right?
Sandy, appreciate the input. We always like to hear from you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
We're going to take that break at the bottom of the hour. We do have relatively half an hour left of the show, and we will be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We are back with you on one of the most beautiful fall days we can have. It's something we want to milk every day now, and I'm sure everyone, all the gardeners are out there doing it. Pam, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I heard the conversation with Sandy about celery, and so I can see all of the pictures in my mind of this pink celery and the dark green, and I didn't know about the blanching business, putting it in the ground, but that makes sense. But it makes way more sense to let it be green. But I just wanted to chime in to say, especially Ken, if you've got excess celery, or if your in-ground outside celery is going to be at risk of frost in a little bit, will it dry?
No. Celery is mostly water, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
so it doesn't dry. It's a bit of a challenge. You know what it does, though, is it will pickle. So you can cut stems and put them in a pickle jar and pickle them just like regular pickles, and they're nice and crunchy.
You do that with carrots.
Yeah, you can do it with carrots. You can do it with beans. You can do it with cucumbers, obviously. So, but that's what I'm thinking. If I want to try to preserve it, that would be the way to go. And other than that, make celery soup, and then you could freeze that.
Freeze it or can it.
Freeze it or can it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I grow a plant. I don't know if it's called lovage or lavage.
Yeah, lovage.
And it's not the same as celery, but it is a really good soup enhancer. And it's mostly leaves is what I dry.
Yeah.
And then I powder those, and of course it takes a tremendous amount of leaves to end up with any measurable amount of powder.
Yep.
But wow, I have been sharing that with friends and relatives who are soup makers, and they say that, man, it just adds that special umami extra.
It's fabulous.
So I wonder if the celery
you could do the same. I think you can do the same. I've seen dried celery foliage. Like just taking the foliage and drying it, and it has that nice celery flavor. So maybe you could do that. But the celery itself, as Ken said, it's like me trying to dry my cucumbers last year. It didn't work. Yeah. Cardboard.
Lovage is a humongous plant, and it is very, very good. And that's what it's used for, is mostly, I think, in soups and that sort of thing, for its flavor. And it is related to celery. It's a close relative. And so, it's just much bigger. It's perennial, so it comes back year after year. And it seeds everywhere. It can be quite a weed in the garden. So the one thing I do with lovage is, is cut off the seed heads as fast as they flower and get rid of them, because, man, you end up with lovage growing everywhere.
I absolutely second that. I learned that the hard way. And then I gave away a whole bunch of lovage plants, which was a blessing. But they are massive. Like mine grow 8 feet tall.
Yep.
They make an incredible privacy screen.
Yeah, I like them. I like the plant, and I love the fragrance. And every once in a while, when I'm out by the lovage plant, I just rip off a couple leaves and crush it up and just enjoy the fragrance of it. It's like celery times 50. It's like celery plants that we grow I think they've been bred to be mild and sweet and that kind of a different thing. But when you're cooking soup, whenever you're cooking anything, you need strong flavored things to really to kick up the flavor. So I would say that lovage, you could integrate a little bit into stuffings, that sort of thing, like anything where you want that celery flavor.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. And also, just before I go, Don, I phoned probably about a month ago complaining about my dahlias that were just, late to the party. Well, they're partying now. They are just loving it, and they're in pots. Can I bring them into my house?
Sure. Yeah, you can. You want to be careful a little bit for hitchhikers. You want to kind of have a close look, make sure you're not bringing anything in.
Especially earwigs, because the earwigs get into the soil. Like if they're in pots, they get in everywhere, every crack and crevice, and especially the giant dahlias inside, they're filled with earwigs.
Put them in a spot you can kind of monitor them for a couple of days to see what's in there. But no, they can be fine. They're good.
Neat. Neat.
You bet.
I'm also, I don't know if anybody has ever, if anybody has experience with drying dahlias, but I'm going to give that a shot. Trying to put them in a large vessel and nestle.
Oh, okay. Drying the blossoms.
Yeah.
Same with zinnias.
What you might try with that is you might try adding putting them in glycerin.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if you had them in a vase and they're sucking up water, and then you integrate glycerin into
Glycerin,
it,
yeah.
and then the flowers suck that up, and then it sort of it stalls the flower in its perfection, and then it keeps the petals from falling off.
Yeah, glycerin.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Got a couple of experiments. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Happy
Pat.
Thanksgiving.
Take care. All the best to you. You bet.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
And we're going to go right back to the phone lines here. And we've got Dory. Good morning, Dory.
Good morning. I have great memories of the celery in Armstrong, riding on the school bus in the late 30s and 40s, and where Ben Lee's farm was, and Hal was in my room in school, his brother, and there were, right in the center of town, there was the black bottomland there, and these rows and rows of beautiful celery. And what they used to do was bank them up with dirt as they grew. They were just gorgeous. And when I see the celery in the stores, and I think back, oh dear. And to keep it, freeze it and cut it up in chunks and freeze it. I do that every time because there's just me and there's a huge stalk of celery, so freeze it.
Oh, there you go. So you chop it like you just would chop off the root, chop off the top, chop the whole thing.
Put frozen ones in potato salad as a crunchy. But the fields were absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, we used to have a huge celery growing.
The Swan Lake, really an extension in the years past of Swan Lake, and it made that beautiful black bottom soil.
Oh, yeah.
It was a delight, and I enjoyed, and that's a long time ago.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Wow, fabulous story. I love it.
And they did get world recognition at one point.
I know.
Yeah.
Perfect conditions.
I remember a couple of trucks that used to drive around, and it was called, and it had on the side of the truck, Okanagan celery growers or celery producers. And so it was a big deal back then.
They didn't have a market. The transportation was pretty poor out of the valley, so they didn't have a market, and I think they all stopped. And of course, they got older, and who knows what's there now, but it's fabulous soil.
Well, we have the potential to grow a lot of stuff here, and I think we're going to have to step up to the plate because, get some local stuff going. And a lot of this stuff can be preserved and whatnot, the apples in particular, and the cold storage and the CA storage and that sort of thing. So we got to step it up a bit.
Right, and I do remember the tobacco farms and what. Yeah, okay.
Tobacco farms.
Yeah.
Do you remember the hop? All the hop farms up in, especially up in the Kamloops area? Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Dory, I appreciate that call, and don't hesitate to call again if something triggers. Okay, dear.
Bye for now.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
Very historical.
That is awesome, and it's those areas, those pockets, and now a lot of them are conserved in the ALR, the Agricultural Land Reserve, and for that specific reason is that when you do get those bottomlands where you do get that beautiful compost-based soil, you got to preserve them, save them for growing food.
Oh, man. Yeah, and it's needed. It's going to be needed even more. We're going to take a relatively early short break here, Gurinder, so that we can invite people's calls because we've got an empty switchboard. And we will do that. Let's take a short break, and we'll be back with the Garden Show after this short break. We're back with you on one beautiful Saturday morning, and we've got Addie joining us. Addie, nice to hear your voice.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we're doing well. Thanks, Addie.
Okay. All this talk about putting plants away. Last week I was listening to you, and you said you cut down your canna lilies and leave them outside or put them somewhere to overwinter. Oh,
I definitely bring them in. I just cut them off and throw them in boxes and put them in my workshop. The workshop stays relatively cool at night, but I do heat it up in the daytime if I'm working in there. But it's if you can find a nice cool spot that doesn't freeze, your cannas can go in there, your dahlias can go in there. And,
so you just keep them in the pot. You just cut them off.
I do. You can either keep them in the pot or you can dig them out and put them in some peat moss. But
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to dig them out of the peat moss to put them into peat moss.
Yeah, no, I'd rather keep them in the pot. You know what? Yeah. I don't. Yep. I've got two big pots, so I'd rather do it. That's great. So okay, and I have a Thanksgiving kind of a story to relate to you. You know how when you go around the Thanksgiving table and you're thankful for, the kids say what they're thankful for?
Right.
And last year, it was my first year without Bill, and I said as I finished, on a kind of a lighter note, I wanted to say, and I have one more thing to be thankful for. Dawn and Ken, the flower pot man. my 9-year-old grandson looked at me and said, Nana, what about Papa?
Yeah.
I said, no, I keep these two in the flower pots. It's okay.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But anyways, happy Thanksgiving to you and your girls, and enjoy.
All the best
thank
to
you.
you,
All the
Addie.
best to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. And we have Wendy joining us. Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I just had a couple of comments. One is the gentleman who wanted to get his Oregon grapes, and he was about to spray them with Roundup. Make sure you pick all the berries first, because they're amazing. You can make jams and jellies and all kinds of delicious things out of them. And the other thing was tobacco. When I was a kid, my grandfather lived with us, and he smoked pipes. And so my father thought, well, it's expensive, so I'll try growing him some tobacco. So he grew tobacco, and then downstairs, when it was done, he had a string across the room, and he hung everyone close-penned every piece, every big leaf, to the string. And they would dry, and the whole house would smell like drying tobacco, which is a nice smell. It's not like smoking tobacco. It's kind of a nice smell. It's in Oceania, so I guess that's why. Anyway, just wanted to add to the conversations.
Well, we appreciate it, Wendy. We appreciate it. And
awesome.
We'll get together pretty soon here, girl, because we have to stay in touch and do these nice things that we'll
smoke some tobacco.
Well, we won't be doing that, but we can pretend. We'll sniff some. How we sniff some tobacco?
We'll eat some Oregon grapes.
Yeah.
Great jelly.
Okay, dear.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, guys.
Thank
have
you
a good one.
very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. There you go.
That's dear Wendy Salvale. That's Ken's
sweet
partner.
wife.
And she's pretty knowledgeable, knowledgeable gal when it comes to lots of things.
Yeah.
But
I knew when I met her, I was like, oh my God, she knows more about plants than I do. I was like, this has got to be a good situation, and it has been fabulous. Yeah. Very lucky.
One of my pet peeves, Ken, as I was mentioning during the break, is driving by a landscape installation and seeing 1.5 to 2 inches of topsoil put on top of gravel. And it's just a waste of the topsoil because it's not going to do anything.
It's a waste of time and a waste of money, that's for sure.
Yeah. You really want to pay attention when you're landscaping to get some decent soil conditions in there.
And some people really, it's just, I understand that not everybody has the money to afford to landscape anymore, but I think my approach is always the same. Is like either you go with the flow, go with what you have, and work with what you have, or you spend the extra money and improve it and change it to adapt to something different. But just remember, there's tons of plants that will adapt to those conditions to begin with. But gravel's a tough one.
Well, I remember
not a normal base.
On Moraine Crescent in Rutland, we were doing a landscape job back in the 70s, and we took about a foot of soil took a foot of gravel out there and brought in soil. And of course, when the client saw the bill for the soil, he says, "I thought I'd already paid for my lot." I had to buy another lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, that was the best investment. He mentioned it so many years after. He says, "Don, it was the best investment we had was to bring in some soil." This is the traditional weekend to get your garlic in. You don't have to get it in this weekend, but start thinking about it. This is the weekend that Dominic Ramponi suggests to do it, and I've done it every year. I haven't got mine in this year because I got a bunch of tobacco plants in the way, and I'll take them out. I'm going to put the garlic in by next weekend.
I'm doing mine this weekend for sure. I got a bit of a game plan there, and I want to get them in. It's traditional Thanksgiving, the Canadian Thanksgiving, which is quite a bit earlier in October. This is October the 12th this weekend, correct? Yeah, and so. Yeah, this is the time to put in your garlic, get it planted. About 3 to 4 inches deep is about what I do, each individual clove, and they come up beautifully, and they're relatively easy to grow.
Ken, have you ever used a sewing machine? Do you sew?
Not particularly. I have before, but I wouldn't call it sewing. I would call it some sort of an incident. I should have recorded it. It would have went viral on the YouTube.
Well, yeah. I when I was young, my mom had an Elna sewing machine, and I would make all sorts of things like little costumes. We had Civil War. A Civil War Army thing going on. We had underground forts, and we had the barn. Yeah. The barn. It was all deal, and much to my friends, uninterest, disinterest.
Right.
I'm trying to make them be a part of this whole scenario, and I get their shirts, or they get their shirts, and I get them to, or their jackets, their jean jackets, and I get them to sew on these stripes. One guy's a sergeant, one guy's a corporal, one guy, that kind of thing. Anyway, so I do a lot of sewing when I was young. I am helping my granddaughter Ellie make a costume, a Christmas or a Halloween costume. So I got the sewing machine out again, doing, just the toughest thing about sewing is threading the bobbin and doing, putting all that together, the mechanical end. And I really get a kick out of the fact that a lot of gals, my mother-in-law included, my Aunt Louie, and also they were avid seamstresses. They sewed everything, sewed all the, and you had to be almost a mechanic to run one of these sewing machines. Oh, yeah. You know where to oil it. You got to know where to do it. It's quite cool, actually. And so I admire anybody that does a lot of sewing.
Yeah, fabulous.
I want to mention one more thing before we go. This is the time of year when you're emptying out pots, containers, and things that you've had your various plants in over the summer. Don't throw that soil out. Please don't throw it in the green bin or anything like that. Yeah. Save it. Put it in a pile. It'll rot down over the winter, and in the spring you've got some nice soil to either add to your garden or you've got something to plant. I use soil every year back into the containers. And,
recycle it.
Recycle that soil and put a little fresh stuff on the top, perhaps. But that's
that's a great idea.
Save it.
A good filler for the bottom of the pots at very least. But I liked your idea of growing sweet potatoes in it, or regular potatoes, or these plants that are pretty durable, not too picky about soils,
that's
and used your used soil for
that's
that.
Right. I was even planting regular potatoes in there, but I've stopped that because I got flea beetle happening, and I just couldn't seem to get on top of it. So to heck with it. I can buy my potatoes at the market.
There you go.
Elaine Cameron out in her garden. Just a quickie before we say goodbye. She dug the spuds on October the 11th, 1954. Dug spuds, picked the Damson plums and tomatoes and grapes. Brought in the next day. She brought in more chrysanthemums into the house. Picked the Fredonia grapes. Haven't heard of Fredonia grapes for a long time.
Yeah.
It's one of the Labruscas.
Used to sell that one years ago.
You betcha. And lettuce. October 13th, they're cut flowers for Mrs. Stevenson and Mrs. Wilmot. October 14th, she watered the greenhouse, cut off the perennials in the border and the lily bed, cut chrysanthemums for house, and roses. And she cut roses. So busy girl back in October of 1954. Exciting, like planted tulips in the North End border, cleaned tiger lily patch, and took down the sweet pea nettings. And then she says, October 16th, 1954, hot and sunny.
Interesting. There you go.
Hot and sunny.
It's different every year.
It is different, and lots of fun to read that diary. I try and keep a diary. I just can't keep it up the way she does. Every single day of the year, she's got something in there.
Amazing, yeah.
And she'll say, no garden this year. And then, then she went to a Shakespeare play downtown at the theater downtown.
Nice.
Shakespeare.
Wow, very cool.
Kind of neat. Anyway,
all right,
there we go. We're going to now start the tips and plants of the week. Well, my tip of the week is this. It's a very simple one, but I know that we like to enjoy those last blossoms of the season for as long as we want. However, when the weather suddenly turns to frosts, we often forget to bring them in. Some of our non-hardy bulbs and tubers in our last-minute frenzy, running around trying to remember where everything is. Take time now to know where things are, so when you do have that last-minute dig, you can walk around and you know exactly what you want to dig out, and you're not going to leave something out in the cold. My plant of the week is the Nipponanthemum nipponicum, the Montauk daisy, and I'll tell you, it's a beauty. And also the Aster ericoides pink cloud is another one, my secondary plant of the week.
Yeah, fabulous. I also have a tip on a plant. My tip of the week is that all these plants we have indoors, at some point they need to be leached. Leaching is where you rinse the soil through, you rinse the soil with water, you run water through the soil and let it run out the bottom, and it just gets rid of built-up salts. That needs to be done a couple times a year. I do that in the spring and in the fall. So in the fall, I have houseplants. I take them outside. I give them a good rinse through that soil, let them drip dry outside, and then bring them back into the house for the winter, and they're good to go. All right, now my plant of the week was the Monstera delosia, which, again, this is a very common plant. plant. They call it a Swiss cheese plant or a split-leaf philodendron. Very common house plant, but deliciosa is because the fruit is very delicious. It's one of the most delicious fruits in the world. And a lot of people may not know that. It's a little bit unique. It's a little bit different, and it ripens in a strange way, but when you get a ripe fruit, it's the best fruit in the world. It's a great one. Anyway, that's my tips and plants for this week. Remember to check growercoach.com.
And here's Shago quote this week: soils are alive with many organisms in winter. Remember, the best fishing places in the world are in cold water. We will see you again next week with more of The Garden Show.